What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Juice Alert. I'm joined by a dear good friend of mine. Some of you may be familiar with him a little bit based on a couple episodes I've dropped. His name is Joe Discher, and today we're talking everything general managers as far as NFL goes. For those of you that do not know, Joe's a good friend of mine. He went to high school with me. I know him from kindergarten, and he's a guy that goes to the University of Cincinnati, majoring in sports administration, and he hopefully one day aspires to be an NFL general manager. And obviously, Joe has to work his way up and things of that nature. Me personally, if you don't know already, I'm an aspiring sports analyst, so I'm kind of the guy that, is on the television, behind the scenes, your podcaster, your radio guy, but he's the guy that's going to be making decisions on the field, hopefully maybe in the future one day. So yeah, Joe, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing fantastic, about ready to talk about my favorite subject.
I know you're excited about this. So yeah, we're going to talk about some of the top 5 GMs in the NFL. We'll give actually our top 5 GMs. We'll talk about who's maybe the best general manager in all football in the NFL right now. We'll talk about some GMs that we maybe don't like, some philosophies that we really hate as fans or as evaluators of general managers, and everything general managers, things of that nature. So, Joe, I'm going to start off with you. I think that most people, actually a lot of people don't realize that Bill Belichick is basically acting as the general manager of the Patriots, and he's done a great job in New England. He's done really, really well. Obviously the Super Bowls speak for themselves. Obviously, you got a guy like Tom Brady. You've got very good teams. That does help, but Bill Belichick does an excellent job of managing that team, finding the right guys, looking at draft steals, managing the cap space. He has a say in everything. So, honestly, I'd probably say if you're going to count Bill as a true GM, which most people do, he's probably the best in the sport. Maybe you disagree with me, but I think that he's the best in the sport. But outside of Bill Belichick, who personally do you think, or maybe if you don't think Bill Belichick's the best GM, who do you think is arguably the best general manager in all sports? For me, I'm going to go with a guy like Howie Roseman. I think Howie Roseman, what he's done speaks for itself. Obviously a couple years ago, the Philadelphia Eagles won a Super Bowl with a backup quarterback. I think that you have to give Howie Roseman credit. First of all, he traded to get Carson Wentz, which was a very good move in that draft, of acquiring talent. I think that he's done a great job of building his teams up front, because when you build in the trenches, it allows you to have flexibility with your roster. You're always going to have a very good defensive line if you have very good trench players. That helps out the secondary. Okay, so that's one thing. But also, if you don't have the best wide receivers or tight ends in the world, if you have protection, that helps out your quarterback scan the field, get the ball to the playmakers, and it allows your offense to at least be serviceable, and it allows you to have a real running game. And listen, we've seen some teams in the past, if you don't have a good offensive line, you're probably not going to win a whole bunch of games. Look at Cleveland last year. Cleveland's offensive line was a mess. And they had so many good players on the outside, but Baker Mayfield was struggling. The protection was not good in Cleveland. And that's a big reason why they failed last year, because they could not block good defensive lines up front. So I think that Howie Roseman is the best general manager going right now outside of Belichick. We'll get to a couple other general managers that we feel good about. We'll give our top 5 in no order very shortly. But what are your thoughts on Belichick, and maybe who's the best general manager in the sport outside of Bill, if it's not Bill already?
Okay, so I definitely really like Bill. I mean, you can't say Bill hasn't done a good job. I mean, all the Super Bowls speak for themselves. And to your Roseman point, I also do really like Howie Roseman. But my top GM in the sport is actually a little different. So I'm going to go with Brett Veach, the Chiefs general manager. Now, I'm not going to try and live in the moment too much, because it's kind of the start of their run, kind of the start of their dynasty, if you would say. But results matter. I mean, the NFL is a what have you done for me recently league. So Veach has drafted Mahomes, okay? No one thought he'd be this good. The talent was there. Everyone knew the talent was there, but he's still very raw coming out of Texas Tech. And he didn't really know how to read defenses. But Veach traded up for Mahomes. And he did a very good job with his development and having the right weapons for him and building the scheme around him. Now, it helps to have Andy Reid, an offensive genius. But let's look at what Veach has done, okay? Just 2 weeks ago, re-signed Chris Jones when everyone think they wouldn't be able to. Okay, so he found the money to go re-sign Chris Jones, which is definitely who's definitely a top D tackle in the league. He goes out and gets Tyrann Mathieu. That pickup was huge. I mean, that pickup was so underrated. People kind of forgot about Tyrann Mathieu. I mean, this is the honey badger we're talking about. This guy really transformed their defense. Their defense was not good 2 years ago. You bring in Mathieu, who's the QB of that defense, and really just played a great role in improving that defense. And I mean, without him, I really don't think they win a Super Bowl. I mean, he made such a difference on that team that it was just huge. Now, you get Sammy Watkins, okay? You bring him in. He made a huge play in the Super Bowl, okay? And Watkins kind of, I'm not going to say he resurrected his career in Kansas City, but he wasn't a bust. He just didn't live up to expectations in Buffalo. You know, he comes out of Clemson, drafted number 4 overall, I believe, and he played like maybe a late first-round receiver or a second-round receiver. He didn't play like a top-5 pick, but when he made that play in the Super Bowl, beating Richard Sherman, I mean, and that was just huge. I'm not going to say it was the turning point, but it was definitely one of them. And, I mean, Veach, he goes out, he gets an undrafted free agent in Damian Williams to rush for over 100 yards in the Super Bowl. I mean, we talked about the Lions failing to get a 100-yard rusher. This guy is not even using a draft pick to get his number 1 running back. I mean, that's insane. That's crazy good. And one of the most underrated parts about the whole Chiefs team was their corners, okay? Can anyone listening right now name a Chiefs corner? Because I can't, okay?
Rashad Breeling, but I researched the teams. Not commenting if the fans probably know who he is.
This guy had no-name corners, okay? I forget his name. I genuinely forget the dude's name. It wasn't Breeland. It was the other guy. I don't know if he was undrafted or like a 6th-round pick or something. I watched a film analysis on him. This guy was insane. I mean, he's not a Jalen Ramsey, but he's out here balling and just locking dudes up. And, I mean, to go out and evaluate guys who no one really knows about, bring them in and have them ball out for you and win a Super Bowl with them, I mean, it just speaks for itself. I mean, he's built a great team in that building, a great culture, great tradition there at the stadium. I mean, Arrowhead is one of the most lethal places to play. No one wants to play there. The chance they do, you know, the fans are amazing. I think Veach just runs the team, fills the team with talent almost perfectly. So that's my guy.
Got it. Now, actually, Brett Veach was number 2 on my list. If you just take away Bill Belichick, you know, I want to kind of touch on him a little bit because I was very close to picking Veach as my best GM. You know, I think that I kind of went with the guy that's been doing it for a lot longer than Veach, which is Howie Roseman. Howie's done it for about 10 years. You know, we'll see what Veach presents to the table for the next, you know, couple years because his future is definitely bright. But man, I want to praise him a little bit more because it's hard to make changes when you're a good team. You know, we look at the Toronto Raptors a couple years ago, you know, when they had the best record in the East, but their general manager, Masai Ujiri, basically said, hey, Dwayne Casey, I like you, but we got to let you go even though you just won Coach of the Year. That's literally what Howie Roseman did. Not Howie Roseman, I'm sorry. That's literally what Brett Veach did by deciding to move up for Patrick Mahomes. And listen, I believed in Mahomes, but a lot of people did not believe in Mahomes. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I felt Mahomes was going to be the best player in the sport, but I saw a legit quarterback that if given the right time, he could be good. But a lot of people did not believe in Mahomes. And Brett Veach believed in Mahomes and said, hey, we're going to move off of Alex Smith, who just won 12 games the previous year, and who's a good quarterback. But we see the trend of the NFL, the big arm quarterback that pushes the ball down the field, and we're going to embrace the Big 12 quarterback that puts up numbers that may not be the sexiest pick, and they trade up to get Mahomes. And I think that's one of the biggest steals that I've ever seen based on how Mahomes projects as a player. And even guys like Kareem Hunt, you know, Kareem Hunt's no longer on the team, but in 2017, Brett Veach found a guy out of Toledo named Kareem Hunt, who is a very underrated player that found his way to lead the league in rushing. By the way, go Toledo Rockets. That is my college. Okay, shout out to them. But yeah, man, I like what he's doing. And listen, he gets things done. I look at my Green Bay Packers. We've kind of wasted away Aaron Rodgers' prime, and things of that nature by not getting him a defense, not making the necessary coaching decisions and changes. Brett Veach realized that, hey, man, listen, we saw the Patriots come into our building and lay the smackdown on us in the AFC Championship game. We need to fire that defensive coordinator. We need to get some real talent while Mahomes is on his rookie deal and get him a decent defense, because we know Mahomes is great, but I'm sorry, that offense for 3.5 quarters was not looking too good. That defense was a big reason they won the Super Bowl. So big shout out to Brett Veach, man. He's done a great job. Thank you so much for watching this video today. Please also note that the Juiciest Sports Podcast is not just a YouTube channel. It is available on all podcasting platforms, including Spotify, Google Podcasts, iTunes, and Apple Podcasts. Also, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share this content with all your friends. This podcast is my favorite thing in the entire world right now. It is my passion. And I want more people to listen to this podcast. I really want this podcast to grow. Also, a fun fact about me is that I want to go into the sports broadcasting and media world once I graduate from the University of Toledo, a college in Northern Ohio. I am looking to become one of the next great sports broadcasters and analysts out in the world. And I potentially would like to start my own network if this podcast really truly grows. Or if I fall short of that goal, I would love to work for a big-time network like ESPN or Fox Sports 1. I am open to all networks. So if you believe in my dreams and you see or hear my passion through the screen, be sure to tell all your friends about the Juiciest Sports Podcast. Stay motivated, you guys. Have a God bless day, and I'm out.